Ever feel like you're doing everything right, but still feel stuck? The career, the house, the script we followed, yet something's missing. Everyone said we made it. We realized we'd been climbing someone else's ladder. That realization sparked a journey toward liberation, toward Africa, toward intention. We haven't left yet, but the shift has already begun. Liberation doesn't start with a move. It starts the moment you stop asking permission. Hi, I'm Simone.
I'm Luke.
And this is our liberation journey, where we share our journey to building location independent businesses, investing on the continent of Africa, as well as our relocation journey to the continent, specifically to South Africa. And so on today's episode, we are going to discuss our trip to Johannesburg last November, specifically on the real estate tour hosted by The Real South Africa. So Luke, originally last Thanksgiving, we were actually going to do a family vacation, but those plans, fell through. And so what were your thoughts when I first came to you and was like, hey, I think we should jump on the real estate tour since we're not, going away for Thanksgiving as we had originally planned?
Simone, I was excited. I was looking forward to going back to the continent. In our previous episode, we talked about, we touched down before we went to Cape Town, but I was excited to go to Johannesburg. We watched a lot of content with The Real South Africa. So I was definitely excited about going to meet Mark and Latasha, but also explore, get connected with the people, and just be involved in community. So I was ready to pack. Like when you told me, it's the weather. I locked in and found out what the weather was like. I started reading more books on South Africa, and just getting involved with what people do over there, and just going in and just exploring.
So one of the things that I actually wanted to share was that, one, the trip started off on the right foot. What did you say?
Yeah, trip was amazing.
I'm talking about the starting point.
The starting point was great. Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So let me give a little context about the starting point of our trip. So here's a little travel hack that I realized actually works. So we are traveling from New Jersey. So there's a direct flight from Newark to Johannesburg on United. And so, we booked just, regular seats. And then I came across this hack. I can't even remember what content creator I was listening to or got the information from. But essentially what you can do is buy a regular ticket and then request to be put on the upgrade list. And typically for us, what ended up happening, we had to use, I think, like 35,000 miles per ticket in order to be put on the wait list. And so you don't find out until like 24, 48 hours before the flight whether or not you've been upgraded. Oh, so I should say upgraded to first class. Let me specify.
First class.
So at first I was like, okay, I'll do it, and just what's the worst that can happen? We stay in the seats that we originally had booked.
Yeah.
So sure enough, I was driving home from work, and I was like, let me just check before I get in the car and drive home to see It wasn't quite 24 hours before the flight, but I was just like, let me just check and see. And when I saw the single digit number assignment, when I tell you, I was, listen, you couldn't tell me nothing. I was like, oh yes, this trip is about to be what it's supposed to be. Because I was just like, I was on cloud nine. I was just like, are you serious? And it's funny because that particular leg of the flight, we didn't even have to pay an added fee. Oftentimes you may have to do like a certain amount of miles plus a fee. Sometimes it's like $500, maybe $450 plus the miles that you need to be put on the upgrade list. But for this particular leg, we only had to use miles. We didn't have to pay like an added fee. So essentially, we paid regular price tickets and flew first class.
It's a great time.
Which, that was the first time. Well, yeah, that was the first time flying first class internationally. Yeah, it's definitely hard to go back to economy once you've had a taste of first class. So, a little travel hack. Take it for what you want. See if it works for you. Yeah, definitely.
Get them points right.
Well, that's a whole nother conversation and topic about how to maximize points and all of that. But yeah, so the trip started off on the right foot for sure. So Luke, tell me, once we got to Johannesburg, what were, some of your first impressions, the first day or two we were there? Because one thing, so the tour started, I think, the 22nd. I think it started November 22nd.
Yes.
And my birthday's on the 21st. So I didn't want to have to travel on my birthday. So we actually went a couple of days before the tour started, just so that I wouldn't have to spend my birthday on the airplane traveling. So we were actually there a couple of days before the actual tour started, excuse me. So Luke, what were some of your first impressions, the first day or two we were there and just kind of hanging out?
First 2 days, it was like when you land, it's like you get off Joburg airport, it's like welcome home. It felt like we've been here before. It was like the vibes was cool. People were welcoming, and we arrived at nighttime, so which was good. Let me tell you, no jet lag. I got off the plane, I was ready to go. And
that first class flight.
Yeah, first class. Yeah, right. First class. I was sleeping good, eating good. Avid reader, so I love reading. So I had my books out, and just having a good time on a first class flight. But when we got to Joburg, which is Johannesburg, it was a great time. The food was amazing. We literally we checked into the hotel, cleaned up, and then we was like changed out the door. It was like, we was like, let's go eat, and that's how I felt. Like I enjoyed it, and I was just like ready to start the next day.
So I would say for me, one of the things that really stuck out, the evening and also the day, the first full day that we were there, was the energy, the ambiance.
Yeah, the people too.
So, like Luke mentioned, we arrived in the evening, checked in. It was still relatively early evening, so we wanted to have something to eat before going to bed. So we walked over to Mandela Square, or no, we got a ride. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. Yeah, we got a ride over to Mandela Square. The driver that brought us from the airport to the hotel was nice enough to give us a ride over to Mandela Square. So again, going back to the people are very welcoming and accommodating, and so going to Mandela Square, it was a vibe. Like,
Yeah.
the lights, the restaurants. We went to, what was it, La Parada,
La
I think.
Parada, yeah.
Listen, the restaurant scene in Johannesburg is
That restaurant was like the small tapas, the plates style, you know, Spanish vibes with a like, you know, for like a South African palate, you know,
yes.
right?
You gotta make sure the people can hear you. You
Oh,
talking to me
yeah,
like you
yeah,
whispering to
yeah,
me
yeah.
in my ear.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it was like a Spanish style, you know, tapas. For like, you know, the South African palate. Food was great. I enjoyed my food, vegan, so I was able to, you know, eat what I wanted to eat, and they had everything I needed, so it was great.
Yeah. So yeah, then the following day we went and hung out. We hung out at the mall, I think, right? We went to, I think, Mall of Africa during the day and just kind of walked around. And, you know, one of the things that really stuck out to me about the malls was just I'm gonna just say it, the cleanliness. Like
Malls,
the
yeah.
stores were like immaculate. Like I mean, I don't know about where other people live in the U.S., but I know where we live at in Jersey. These malls, these stores be looking like a hurricane that went through them. People just throw stuff any old kind of way. And so just, I mean, every single store, and it wasn't just that mall. I mean, we went to several different malls
Yeah.
while we were there. And it was the same thing. It was very standard, like, this is how we do it around here.
Yeah.
And the pace, we had spent a little bit of time in Rosebank walking around. And, you know, Rosebank reminds me of like Soho.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with like
Art
Manhattan.
district, cultural. Like, yeah.
But the pace was just like, people were like, you know, getting to where they needed to go, whether it was work, whether it's just hanging out. But the pace was just, it was just a little different. Like it wasn't so rushed. People like knocking you out the way, trying to get to where they're trying to go.
It still was moving with purpose though. Like they was moving with purpose. They and they enjoyed their time. You know, they valued their time. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't reckless movement, you know. That's what I noticed. So I enjoyed Rosebank. One of my favorite restaurants was in Rosebank. Really,
which one is that?
Proud Mary. Yeah, I really enjoyed Proud Mary. Great food. I think we went there like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the oxtail was like oxtail croquettes, like in a little ball.
Yeah, that's what you had. Yeah, it was good. Yeah, but I
Chef's kiss.
A lot of good food. A lot of good food. The libations were good too. The drinks were amazing. From the South African beers, from Castle Light to their spirits, from the Ember Roast Gin to you name it. It was great. And so I definitely enjoyed that. Rosebank was a vibe.
Yeah, definitely. And it's actually funny that you mentioned Proud Mary, because that's going to be a nice little segue into kind of the next topic that we're going to discuss, which is the real estate tour. But before we get to that, I mentioned during last episode, you know, 3 different content creators that kind of helped spearhead our journey to looking towards the continent, not only from an investment standpoint, but also from a relocation standpoint. And certainly the Real South Africa, which is whose tour we were participating in while we were there in Johannesburg. But also I mentioned Ashley in Africa. And so, you know, I have been watching Ashley's content for a few years and participated in attended a couple of her virtual summits, you know, discussing real estate and other types of investment opportunities in Johannesburg. And so Luke and I were, you know, went to Rosebank, was hanging out, then
Yeah.
went and had dinner at Proud Mary, and we sit down, and I look to my right, and I'm like,
It's like that's
that's
Ashley.
Ashley.
And I was like,
And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, we're in Johannesburg, which is a city, right? There are many different neighborhoods, um, in Johannesburg, on the outskirts of Johannesburg. I'm like, what are the odds that we are not only in the same neighborhood, but in the same restaurant? And literally, when I say sitting at the next table beside us,
yeah,
literally at the next table. And I was just like, okay, this is just confirmation that, it's time for us to start putting our thoughts and wishes into action. Before we move on to talking about the real estate tour, any other first impressions you want to discuss, Luke?
you know what? Yeah, I do. I do. I want to talk about how safe it was to move around South Africa. Um,
Johannesburg.
in Johannesburg, to be exact. I enjoyed that. I felt like you can move around with no issues, no problems. Um, People were, like I said before, very welcoming. I got up every morning. I love running. I'm an avid runner, so I made it a point to put my feet on the pavement, and I was out the door like 5:30 in the morning. So I was able to see the hustle and bustle of people walking to work, catching the taxis, using the transportation. Um, so I was just moving along with the people and just enjoying their movement. And so it was to the point where like I was running here in the States, but I was back in South Africa. So I got up every morning and definitely enjoyed that to the point where it became a routine for me. And then when I started going out, I started seeing people. Then it's the same day, and they would come up to me on my hip like, "Hey, what's up, big man?" Or like, "What's up, my brother?" From men and women, just like, "Hey, let's go for a run," and we on each other's hip and we moving. So it was definitely a great community, and I enjoyed that. So it's like that meant a lot to me because like running is good medicine, and it was dope to see that over there in the continent. So getting up every day and moving was important, and the safety wasn't an issue for me, and that's one thing I love is community and movement, because movement is medicine.
Yeah, no, I would definitely echo the point about safety. Um, there's a lot of conversation around safety or lack thereof, specifically as it relates to Johannesburg. And, we were in, a few different neighborhoods just walking around, just like everybody else. And I can't remember a moment where at any point I felt unsafe. We took, outside of the real estate tour activities, we had time to do our own thing. And I mean, we would just catch Ubers to different areas. And like I said, we just walk around, hang out, check out different stores, different neighborhoods, different restaurants in different neighborhoods. And I felt very comfortable.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, I never felt like I was in a situation where I was potentially unsafe. Um, so that certainly was not our experience as far as, not feeling safe
yeah,
at all.
I agree.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the actual real estate tour.
Let's do it.
And so let me ask you, what are some of the things that stood out for you, particularly given that we did spend a lot of time watching content on
Seriously.
YouTube
It's
as
a
it
lot.
relates to different real estate
A
in
lot.
Johannesburg. So we were kind of familiarized with some of the different estates that were in Johannesburg based on the content that we have been watching over the at least the last year prior to going on the tour. So what were some of your first impressions when you got to actually now see it in real life, not just looking at it from a video?
Wow, that first day. Let's talk about the first day of the real estate tour. Just everyone coming together, um, with the same mindset and trying to understand what's over here and getting with the right people, which is Mark and Latasha with the Real South Africa. And what they did is they gave us access and everything was proper. And you hear those words a lot when you tap in. I'm gonna use that word today. When you tap into their channel, please definitely tune into them as well because they give you great information. They're an excellent resource, and so I don't want to use the word overwhelmed, but I was definitely ready to take on what was given to us and do art. The most important thing is do the homework, So that's it.
Did the properties meet your expectations or
Yes.
exceed them?
Um,
Or didn't meet your expectations?
it was the properties, the people, everything was phenomenal. It exceeded my expectations. Like I was like, okay, this is available to us here
Yeah,
at this cost.
that part. The price points.
The price points were on another level where it's you have to like see it to believe it. I tell you, we could talk about this all day, but the most important thing that you have to do is take that step. Believe in yourself and step out that box and say, hey, there's someone else. There's somewhere else. I can go to see it and go see it because like we could tell you all day about what it's about, what we had access to, but we really want you guys to go see it. We do because we could tell you this all day, but go see it. And like my wife said, the access, the price points, everything was proper. Everything was done in decency and order. You definitely could tell Mark and Latasha definitely put the work in. It's definitely this is what they love to do. And I can honestly say that it's a different vibe. When you love something, when you like something, you put more into it. So they love it, they love it, and that's how I felt. So
Yeah, so I mean, I would say some of the things that really stuck out that you can't get a real sense of by just watching different YouTube videos about properties in Johannesburg is that the estate living it's on like a whole different scale. The amenities that you have access to within a state is just like what? I mean, from estates had schools, they had
gas station.
hospital facilities, not like just like a little clubhouse with a little, rinky dink area to exercise and maybe, a pool. Um, it had spa and laundry service and uh, a full-fledged, restaurant. Some of the estates, there were multiple restaurants. I mean, they had full-on shopping centers
Yeah.
within the estate. And so that part of it was just like, that just kind of just blew my mind. I'm like, what we call gated living, listen, it doesn't even,
Some comparison.
it's zero comparison. When you talk about a lot of these estates and how they're laid out and how they're set up. The other thing that really stuck out to me, and like Luke said, the Blantons really did a tremendous job in showing the variety. I mean, there were so many different options that fit everyone's need, whether you were a single person all the way up to a family like ours, where we have, multiple children and everything in between. If you're, a retired couple or, a young single person. I mean, there was literally everything from apartments to cluster homes to retirement kind of style homes, houses that were varying different sizes. I mean, it was just so much variety and so many options. And then, like Luke said, the price points were just what you get for your money there versus what you can acquire with the same amount of money here in the US is just, I think I said it on the last video. It's like a no-brainer. I'm like, this is, I don't know how else to put it. It just, the math is just not mathing when you talk about what it costs to live here in the United States, and it's going in the wrong direction as it relates to affordability, and how far your dollar goes, and so those were some of the major things that really stuck out. And then they also gave us an opportunity to look at new developments that were, still toiling the ground and building up. And even one of the projects hadn't yet broken ground. And that kind of shifted our focus. Initially we're just like, it's easy to get caught up in the, oh wow, this is amazing, I would love this house, it's, has all of the things, as far as like having a primary home and buying a primary home. But when we started seeing some of the other options that fit more so, particularly for our kind of family size and structure, more from an investment standpoint. Like we can't, I mean, I guess we could, but no, we wouldn't be very comfortable living in an apartment. It's particularly with 3 growing children. So seeing those new developments and those new development projects and the locations, one was in Santon, the other one was in Rosebank, which we mentioned not too long ago. And those particular neighborhoods are prime locations, particularly as it relates to having rental properties. So that's how we kind of started to think about those particular developments that were presented to us and discussing, potentially, investing. Next, I want to talk a little bit about how we ultimately did decide to invest, right?
Okay.
As I mentioned, there were these new developments, one in Santon and one in Rosebank. And we ultimately decided to invest in a unit in the Santon project as well as one in the Rosebank. And I think one of the things that made us feel comfortable, moving forward, one, the agent that we were working with.
Yes.
That's my girl.
Yes, hi. How you doing? She's
You
awesome.
know,
She's
she
amazing.
really, laid it out. She kind of, walked us through, gave us, good intel as far as like insight into, the area, the neighborhoods, kind of what these particular types of units, what type of clientele they would attract, and why those particular neighborhoods were, strong, draws for these types of, whether it's travelers or business people, because, in Santon, the project that's, I think they're breaking ground now as we speak, um, is right in that central hub in Santon. Like, it's a block over from the mall. You have Discovery. You have multiple other corporate businesses. I think the embassy is over there. So it's in a very prime location where it would, cater to, professionals who may be, there on, short term, stays for a period of time for work related reasons, or people who just want to, hang out, or, digital nomads. There's that whole wave of opportunities to tailor and to provide a place for people to live. And so we were looking more at the short term rental space. So that's why the Santon location resonated, as well as the Rosebank, because Rosebank, like we mentioned, is, a very trendy area. There's a lot of people that, go there to hang out. The location of it is, it's very walkable. It's near all of the, restaurants. It's not far from the mall down in Rosebank. So it's also in a very nice location where it would, do well from a short-term rental standpoint. And so that was one of the things that really made us feel comfortable moving forward. The other was the low entry, like we mentioned, the price points. We definitely decided on a unit that we felt comfortable with, where it was just like, okay, this is a nice kind of stepping stone, right? This isn't, the thing that's going to catapult us into, a certain wealth.
She's like,
It's not gonna catapult us into another bracket of wealth, but it's basketball season. All right. Anyway,
let's go Knicks.
stop it. Where was I? So yes. So we were looking at this as more of a stepping stone, opportunity to have a low barrier to entry, opportunity to kind of get our feet wet and, get a good sense of what the process is, because, it is different when you compare it to the US. There's certainly a lot of similarities with the process, but there are differences. And so, taking advantage of this opportunity to have kind of a lower ticket, I should say lower price points unit, and, having that opportunity to, feel it out, get a good sense of how it works, particularly when you're talking about in a whole different country, in a whole different continent. And then that way we kind of, you have to crawl before you can walk, and you have to walk before you can run, and you have to run before you can fly, and then you have to fly before you can soar. So this is our crawling stage, in investing, and then certainly we will scale up from there once we, get a good footing, and really have a solid foundation and understanding how the process works. I think in another episode we can get a little bit more kind of into, lessons learned. Things that we would do differently or are doing differently. So yeah, I mean, it's always part of the process is learning. But overall, we were definitely happy with our decision. And yeah, we're still moving forward with that process because, like I mentioned, the properties are still under construction. Um, the Rosebank project will be done. Well, our unit will be done. Part of the development has already been open and running, but the segment that we invested in won't be finalized or finished until early next year. So certainly more to come on that once we,
Yes.
get the transfer of the unit and actually, furnish it and put it on the market and all that. We'll certainly go through that process. The Santon project is not going to be done until probably some point, maybe in 2027.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit further out as far as completion.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it. It's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be nice. Thank you. Thank you. Like you said, we definitely like if they have questions, we definitely need to make sure we can give them the information if they would like to know who helped us out and assisted us as well with this process. Like I said, we can share that information with you, get that information to you because she is amazing.
Oh, sorry. When you're talking about that, I completely forgot legal services.
Yes.
Now, you don't want to. Okay, so let me start with this. It is very important that you do your homework, and part of your homework is securing legal services that can help walk you through the contractual process, and making sure that everything is as it should be before you sign anything, before you send funds
Yes.
over. It's very, very important to make sure that you secure legal service. So again, shout out to Ashley with connecting me to an absolutely wonderful attorney who helped us with these units and is currently helping us with things that we're looking at in Durban, and certainly we'll get into that at a later time. But it's very important. Don't send your money without securing legal services and having somebody look over the contract.
Don't do that. Talk to the right people.
You wouldn't do that here in the U.S. Let's be serious, right? You wouldn't go and purchase a house and not have an attorney look at the contract before you pay money. So let's not do that. There's all this conversation around people being scammed and all of that. I would say a lot of that has to do with just not doing your homework and not doing your due diligence.
Yes.
And understanding what it is that you're buying, what it is that you're signing up for, and the nuances. Like there are things that you're just not gonna know. Sometimes there's questions that you're not even gonna realize you should be asking, because it's a different country, it's a different continent. There's things that are done a little bit differently, and so very important to make sure that you secure legal services before you sign off on anything, particularly sending large sums of money. You don't want to do that without
let's be smart.
having somebody look at it first.
Yeah.
All right.
Get with the right people.
Yes. And certainly we'll be more than happy to share our contacts for those who are serious about investing and moving forward. All right. So we always want to kind of leave with 3 lessons, 3 insights, just to kind of wrap up the episode. So first one is actually what we were just talking about. Do your homework.
Yes. Do your homework, please.
But trust alignment. Okay. I think it's very important to make sure that you're clear about what your goals are, what your intentions are, And really, what are your top priorities, right? For some people, it may be very well that, they're retired, they're looking for a home that they can, feel safe, secure, and not feel like, they're again on that struggle
On that
bus.
struggle bus.
Um, your dollars go a lot further in South Africa versus being a retired person in the US. And so for some people, it's, looking for a primary residence because they're in that age where, they're not really, their primary goal isn't to, build wealth or support a family or that sort of thing. And then even if you're looking to invest, it depends on what your goals are. Are you looking for recurring income that is maximized, which typically that's short-term rentals, or you're just cool with just a steady, income, but you're really looking at kind of the long-term appreciation, which means you want to, look more for like a long-term renters, type of units. There are certain units that are better suited for short-term rentals. There's also units that are more better suited for, long-term. So you really have to define what your goals are and what your priorities are. So yeah, do your homework.
That's number one.
But trust alignment. Okay, so if something is aligning with what your goals are, trust that. Okay. Second thing is
Number two.
ding ding ding. Africa is evolving and growing. Please don't overlook. We're going to keep saying it. Please don't overlook the continent of Africa when it relates to opportunities and particularly investing. And not just with real estate, there's so many, there's a whole litany. We're not going to get into all of that.
A lot of things you can do there, but we're focusing on this now. Definitely number two. It's don't wait and say, I'll do it later. I'll wait till the future, and like focus on the present, which is the gift that you have access to now. Don't think about tomorrow. Don't worry about what happened before. I need y'all to focus on the present that you have in front of you right now. That gift, that access, that's available to you, which you can call home.
Yeah. All right. So yeah. So Africa is not the future; it's the present.
Yeah.
Get your mind right.
Yeah.
All right. And the third thing. Three. The third thing is think impact and legacy.
Okay. Say that again, please.
Think impact and legacy.
That's important.
From a legacy standpoint, for us, as I mentioned, real estate is something that we're interested in. And so using real estate as a vehicle to grow wealth and start to create that legacy, for our children and our children's children. Certainly, there are many different vehicles that can be used to create a legacy. For us, one of those is certainly real estate.
Yes.
There are some others, which we will certainly get into as we go on with sharing our journey. And then the impact piece, I think, is something that we have to keep in mind as well. Not from a sense of coming and trying to save people, because there are people who are doing just fine and doing actually quite well in South Africa. But I think also being able to have your own individual impact as an individual or as a family. Yeah. Because when you purchase real estate, you're contributing to the economy, particularly in our case, because we're looking at the short-term rental space. So just management that needs to be, we live currently in the U.S., so certainly can't manage it on a day-to-day basis from the US. So, hiring a management company, hiring, cleaning services, supporting different other local businesses through the purchase of real estate has a certain impact on the economy, and certainly can also help to grow and improve, job creation,
That's important.
which is, it is an issue in South Africa as far as unemployment. So being able to contribute in that way to stimulating maybe, job growth and the utilization of specific services as it relates to owning, investment property in South Africa. And so, yeah, so it's important to keep that in mind. Think impact and legacy. So, if you've ever dreamed of living on your own terms, creating freedom, reconnecting with purpose, and designing a life that truly reflects who you are, you're definitely in the right place. We'll continue to share how we are building location independent businesses, investing in Africa, and navigating the transition of relocation, one intentional step at a time.
Subscribe to our liberation journey and walk this path with us. Let's redefine what freedom truly means. Please like, share, subscribe.
Yes, please share, because what did I say before? Sharing is caring. Until the next episode. Peace.
Peace.